Go ahead.
All right, folks. This is Rabble Rousing Rich Bergeron. Go ahead, Tony.
I think I lost it, but this is the tornado, Tony Pacquiao.
Okay. I was trying to make a joke beforehand. Should I mark it explicit content?
Rabble rousing, but I feel like
Well, then it started recording. So sorry about that, folks. Glitch to begin the show. But anyway, we got a lot to talk about. We got the big fight coming up: Manny Pacquiao versus Keith, one-time Thurman, and this is a real test for Manny. You know, has he got a lot left in him, or is this the wall he runs into? We're gonna find out. But you've got a lot of
you
reasons
know
for
what's
him to
funny?
do well. So go ahead.
Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to really sit down and do one of my in-depth written analysis on fight. But I've been, following it back and forth, especially for the last 2 weeks. And it's one of those fights where I get two scenarios coming over strong. Like we always joke, especially doing a column in the air with his crystal ball.
Hmm.
And then I'll say when it's coming up to a fight, like usually I get a real strong feeling on a fight, almost like that psychic, mojo on it. And this fight, I'm getting pulled in two different directions. When it first got signed, the wavelength that kept coming over to me was Thurman's youth and size. That's what I just kept thinking in my mind: youth and size, youth and size. He's a big guy, he's a physical guy, he's got a good chin, good power in both hands, especially his right hand. He's athletic, he's young. And I'm like, I could see him, especially with that right hand, and landing some shots and backing Pacquiao away, moving him back, keeping him on his back foot. And I'm like, I could see, him winning. If it was a stoppage, it would be a late stoppage. Just on the basis of his youth and his athleticism and his size. But then the thing that kept popping into my mind was Thurman's comeback fight when he fought Josecito Lopez, who was a fighter that, a good fighter, tough fighter, but at the same time, not an elite fighter. Um, and originally going into that fight, we're like, oh, this could be, a good comeback fight for Thurman, a guy that's comfortable doing some rounds, but at the same time, doesn't really have the arsenal to beat him. First few rounds, script was playing out like it should. Thurman was dominating, even knocked him down. And I was like, okay, this is going to be, the whitewash we expected. Thurman will get his feet back in the shallow end of the pool. Next thing you know, it's like he stepped off and he went right into the deep end because Lopez was landing, right hand after right hand after right hand. And he had Thurman reeling around the ring. I mean, I saw the guy's eyes roll in the back of his head a couple times, and I'm like, man, I said, look, a couple times I thought he was going to go down, or I thought this fight could conceivably end in a stoppage in Lopez's favor. I'm like, man, with a guy like Pacquiao, even though he was 40 years old, um, and he's not much of the knockout puncher that he used to be, I'm like, I could see him, stepping in there and doing them rat attack combinations and that left hand breaking through the guard. I'm like, if Lopez's right hand can break through the guard like that, what the Pacquiao's much faster, laser-like left hand do? And I'm like, man, it could be a fight where he could really bust Thurman up and really break him down and, swell his eyes shut, maybe cut him, and then force a stoppage. And I kept teetering back and forth with 30 years. And just by chance, our good friend, former guest Iceman John Scully, he did an analysis just 2 days ago. He put me, and I thought it was pretty spot on because he was saying both of those same scenarios that you have the younger, athletic, power punching guy Thurman against the crafty, quick, older, um, but still very capable man Pacquiao. and he went through both scenarios, and then what he ended up thinking at the end of it was Thurman kind of pulls away the lane and wins the decision. And that's possible. Like I said, and even with Las Vegas originally had Thurman is the favorite, and the money really switched. It went towards Pacquiao. So the money is going towards Pacquiao in this fight. So I mean, right now, I mean, I think it's also in the air. You have two scenarios. I think both of them are conceivable, and it'll just have to see who can establish their game plan early in the fight, and then who can make the proper adjustments. So who wins this fight? I mean, Pacquiao is back with Freddie Roach, so I mean that could sway the pendulum back in his favor.
He has a lot to lose too. Like this, he has to win to continue his career, to show people that he's still legit. He also has to win to keep the Premier Boxing Champions people in his corner. He just got on board with them, so this is huge for him to get this win. But it's not against somebody that's unbeatable, even though he's unbeaten. He's definitely got some weaknesses in his defense, but so does Pacquiao. And Pacquiao punches with both hands sometimes and leaves his face wide open. But Thurman has power, so if he hits him with a hook, it's one of those fights where it's like one guy has to knock him out, in my opinion, and the other guy will win by decision if it doesn't happen. And that's Manny. Manny's going to win by decision. I don't think he's knocking anybody out at his age, but he can win by decision if he fights a smart fight. And I think Thurman's going to get frustrated.
That's a very good point. It's like when you break down, when you go, okay, you break this down with, okay, who's got the advantage and experience? Obviously, Manny Pacquiao. Who's got the advantage in size? Keith Thurman. Who's got the advantage in power? Keith Thurman. Who's got the better chin? Keith Thurman. Who's faster? Pacquiao. So it's got speed and experience versus youth, size, and power, and chin. So, it'll be, once again, like I said, whoever can establish themselves and whoever can make the necessary adjustments.
All right. Well, I like Keith Thurman by knockout. I like Manny Pacquiao by decision.
Get on to another topic. Which that?
I like Keith Thurman by knockout or Manny Pacquiao by decision. That's my pick.
Yeah.
Bet either way.
Well,
honestly, I think Pacquiao will.
Switch gears. I think it would be proper to pay respect to one of the greatest fighters of all time, especially our generation. We just lost a few days ago in Pernell Sweetie Whitaker.
Yeah, had a small connection to him. There was a guy on my boxing team, big, huge, tall, black kid, and he didn't show up every practice and didn't do any of the boxing matches, but he told me one day about working in Pernell Sweet Pea's dressing room, and just the crazy times back then, and it was it reminded me of that story when we talked about the John Jones situation, where John Jones got tested and got what they call an off peak test or something like that, out of competition. That's what they called it. Out of competition test positive for cocaine, and they were not supposed to even publish it. Well, this kid claimed to me that back in the day, they not only didn't they care about cocaine, but his whole dressing room, everybody, the seconds and everybody, were just snorting a pile of cocaine for one of his earlier fights. So that was just like the down and dirty side of boxing I got from somebody who claimed to be an insider. Who knows? You never know if those stories are true, but he claimed he Sounded like he knew what he was talking
You
about.
know,
He was from that area.
this is right now, you know, as a fighter, you know, it's hard to judge matched up against other fighters because you can only do feel like what we saw in his career, which was, you know, greatness, especially on the defensive side. You know, he never really had a conclusive loss until later in his career. And I think the first real conclusive, undisputed loss of his career was against Felix Trinidad, where he got off the canvas. The Trinidad was so much larger than he was, scored a couple knockdowns, and won a unanimous decision. But yeah, like his first career loss, he won the Olympic gold medal in 1984. First career loss was Jose Luis Ramirez in what is considered one of the first decisions in boxing history. It was like that Whitaker protected him by every round and still lost on the cards. That was his first title shot. Then he went on to be the undisputed lightweight champion. Moved up in weight, had wins over guys like Buddy McGirt, had places like guys like Harold Frazier, a lot of, good quality fighters out there. Jim Nelson, he had a win over. When Nelson was just one of the top pound for pound fighters in the world. And then it led up to the Whitaker fight with Julio Cesar Chavez, who was undefeated at the time. And everybody, including probably members of Chavez's family, with the exception of two of the three judges, gave it to Whitaker. And that's a fight that went down, one of the another one of the most controversial decisions in boxing. And that really changed the sport for a while. Was a fight against Oscar De La Hoya. And that's another fight that there's some controversy behind it. I didn't think it was that bad of a decision, to be honest. Then again, let me preface it with this. That fight was the weekend of the National Collegiate Tournament in Annapolis, Maryland. That was my junior year in 1996. That was April of 97. The tornado didn't turn 21 in September of 97, but I was still able to sneak into a bar with one of my teammates and hung out with the University of Kentucky team. Who, and Rich, I was talking about the other day, talking about, just one of a night that, I'll always remember just because of the way it worked out. It was 6 of us from Lock Haven that were down at the Nationals that year. Only one of the teammates was 21. Mm-hmm. And that was the guy, Fred Truding, out of Philadelphia. Fred was a boxing guy like I was, another Philadelphia guy. He was my roommate in the Nationals that year. And Fred and I wanted to go see this fight. Fred, for being like 22 or 23 years old, looked like he was almost 12. Mm-hmm. And we're sitting there thinking, we got to go to the sports bar to see this fight. And my dad's like, if you walk in with Fred, you both get carded. So here's what we're going to do. Fred, you go in first with your ID. Tony, you walk in with me. They won't card you. Like, okay. So we do that. The three of us go, or my friend goes in, and me and my dad go in. We meet up at the bar. And everybody from Lock Haven had like these window papers that we got this year, and they each had, the Lock Haven boxing thing on the back, and our name and our weight class. Of course, it was a weight class I wasn't fighting that year in the Nationals or the Regionals. So we go in there, and my dad gives me a 20 because we go surrounded beers. So I go up, the bartender's like staring me down, looks me in the face, looks at my windbreaker, looks me in the face, goes, so, and I'm sweating bullets. He goes, how'd you do in the tournament? And I'm like, bronze medal, sir. Congratulations, here's your beers. Okay. We bump into the University of Kentucky team. And the University of Kentucky team had 4 or 5 guys there. All of them were under 21, except this kid, Sal. Sal was the most out-of-place University of Kentucky boxer I ever met. He was a 112-pound Marine from Brooklyn. And he talked just like a little Joe Pesci, right? And mile a minute, He got on, you know. So once again, they let Sound one person know when he was going to get carded because he looked like he was 12 and he was 23. Then they all went in, and we all ended at the bar together, and we're hanging out, and we're watching that fight. And when it was over, I mean, when they announced De La Hoya as the winner, we were all like, okay, that's cool, you know. But you come back and look at it now, it's like Whitaker did make him, but I don't think Whitaker did enough to win the fight. Um, but you know, like I said, one of the best. When you try to match him up with great fighters or other errors, like I said, you know, how would he do against guys like Roberto Duran at lightweight? You know, could Duran overwhelm him,
One
or
thing
would
I
he
remember about
push
Pernell
him
Whitaker
so bad?
in his prime was that he probably, I don't know if this is a statistical fact, but I would guess that he was one of those fighters who spent one of the longest durations as the accepted pound for pound best in the world. I thought he was
He was
up
up
there for a long time on that top 2 or 3 in that list. He was pretty damn good. He was so fast. That was what really. I mean, he had who's that other guy? That fought Julio Cesar Chavez there. Mildred Taylor. He was fast, but
Yep.
Pernell Whitaker had
I
fast and smart
Melcher was
combined.
faster. If you like had to measure like, and just say you measured it at miles per hour, Melcher was faster, but Purnell was better. Purnell had better vision.
Yeah.
Where Melcher would try to blind you with his speed, where Purnell would be able to, you know, use more subtle movements, and he had better vision. He had better vision in the ring.
Right.
You
Well,
two
I didn't read the whole story. I just
and you
read
have one that can
all the
hit
headlines.
8 yards.
According to the headlines, he got hit by a car in Virginia somewhere. So I don't know the details. I don't know whether they caught the guy or what. But
He got hit by a car,
he's
but
in
it
his
wasn't a hit and
50s.
run. And I had a friend that was down there, 8 blocks from where it happened.
Oh shit! So hopefully they
Yeah,
catch the
he
guy.
messaged me that.
Um,
What?
it's crazy. It's the second big fighter who's been killed by a hit and run. So and they've got the other guy. He got really a slap on the wrist. I think 10 years or something like that. Ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't think this was a hit and run. I think it was like just an unfortunate accident. But the person stayed. You know, the
Oh,
person did
okay.
flee.
All right.
I heard.
Sorry. I guess I misunderstood. So anyway, yeah, that's unfortunate. That sucks for everybody. But yeah, Purnell was a great fighter, and he will be missed. Other than the Manny Pacquiao and Keith Thurman fight this week, we have other fights on that same card worth mentioning. Welterweights, Yordenis Ugas. He's 23-4, fighting Omar Figueroa Jr., who has just one draw, no losses, and 28 wins. And then a couple big ones. Louis Neary fighting in the U.S. here in Vegas. He's 29-0 at bantamweight, looking for big number 30. Just like Keith Thurman in the main event, looking for his big number 30, which would be a really big number 30 against big number 61 wins Mr. Pacquiao. But Louis Neary's coming in 29-0, fighting for the WBC silver bantamweight title against Juan Carlos Payano, who is 21-2. That should be a decent fight there. And then Caleb Plant coming in at 18-0 versus Mike Lee, who is 21-0. So this is the somebody's always got to go fight of the week. 18-0 and 21-0. It's for the IBF World Super Middleweight title there. So this is going to be a pretty decent fight, I think, and lead into the big card. Sergey Lipinets also on the card in the first fight of the night. He's 15-1, fighting J.R. Inson, 18-2 at welterweight. Also had a decent fight between Abel Ramos, 24-3-2 at welterweight, and Jimmy Williams, 16-2-1. But the mismatch of the week is also right underneath this card. It's on another card in Midland, Texas. We have the super featherweight main event is the mismatch. Another Abel Mendoza. He is 16-0, going against old Raymond Chacon, who is 7-38-1. 16-0 and 7-38. And then we gotta go up. Whoop, we got Cornflakes in a fight up there in Atlantic City. Thomas Lamanna. I don't know why he got the nickname Cornflake, but that's his nickname. Super welterweight. He's 27-21.
He's actually that's a good friend of mine.
And I thought he had retired years ago, but he must have just decided against it. And now he's fighting, basically on his own promotion most of the time. His matchmaker is Deborah Lamanna. I don't know if this is a wife for his mother, but yeah. So Carlos Garcia Hernandez is his opponent, and Carlos is 15-21-1. So I expected to win that one, Carlos. And then you got this one, Levante Early in North Carolina. It's not quite that mismatch of the week. It's just about 8-0, fighting Joseph Figueroa, who is 11-63-5. Then down in Detroit, we got one fight on the card. Cornelius Bundridge, 36-6, fighting TBA. Old K9 at super welterweight. We don't know who he's fighting yet, though. We gotta wait till Saturday for them to figure it out. And then over in the UK.
Well, we got a pretty good one on tonight.
Oh, what's going on tonight? I did not check tonight. What is it? Oh, Friday the 19th.
It's Teofimo Lopez.
Okay, versus Masayoshi Nakatani. Yeah, I'll get that. No, I'll get that up. But over the weekend, in London, we got big heavyweights, Dylan White and Oscar Rivas, for the interim WBC World Heavyweight title. Dylan White is 25-1, Rivas is 26-0. So that is a very big one for the heavyweight picture. Also on the undercard, we have another big heavyweight fight. Derek Chisora, he is 30-9 versus Artur Spilka, 22-3. And we got somebody's 9-0's got to go. Richard Riakporhe and Chris Billum Smith for the WBA Intercontinental Cruiserweight title, both 9-0. David Allen and David Price, David versus David, so David versus Goliath. David Allen is 17-4-2. David Price is 24-6. Pretty much it for that one. But yeah, big implications. I think I read somewhere that Dylan White is saying he's going to retire after this fight or something. He's not interested in fighting the other big heavyweights. I don't know if that was true. Thought I read that somewhere.
You should make money, I guess, right?
Okay.
Because right now, I mean, it's like heavyweights are going to make some good money.
Yeah.
You know, people are talking about them again. When was the last time that happened? It's been a while, right?
Right. Over in Russia, we got a decent light heavyweight fight. Maxim Vlasov, he is 43-3, fighting Isaac Chalemba, who is 25-6-2 for the get ready for it, the vacant Eurasian Boxing Parliament light heavyweight title.
Wow.
You know, there's a boxing parliament.
In them earlier. Our good friend, the Iceman, Tom Scully, when he just shredded these alphabet bodies with their multiple titles over everything.
Yeah. First you got the gold, then you got the super title and the silver title. Let's go.
I mean, it's getting to the point now that you have like super champions, you have diamond champions, you have gold champions. I mean, like it's like you have the gold, but you don't have the gold if you're not the gold champion, right? It's like how ridiculous is that? And then what was like it was another one that I can't even remember which it was. And Scully was going off on it.
Feta Latin ones, Latinos. There's one right here. Saul Juarez, 25-9-2, fighting Ganigan Lopez, 35-9, down in Mexico for the vacant WBC Latino flyweight title. And it's always funny when you got like two white guys fighting for the Pan American or Asian title. Oh boy, 11-0 versus 105-2. 105 losses. All right, where is that? All right, here it is. ESPN Plus tonight, top rank. Teofimo Lopez, he's 13-0, fighting Masayoshi Nakatani, who is 18-0. So this is the other somebody's always got to go fight. And then the co-main event is the 13-0 pair. Maxim Dadashev, 13-0, and Subriel Metias, who is 13-0 for super lightweight. Super lightweight fight. And you got your Jesus fight of the week. Esquiva Falco, 23-0, fighting Jesus Antonio Gutierrez, 25-3-2. You got Jesus fight and a Jesse fight on the same card. Jesse Chris Rosales, 22-1, fighting Tyler McCreary, 15-0-1 for lightweight and lightweight division. And we got a heavyweight named Cassius Chaney, 15-0, fighting Joel Caudle, 8-2-2. So it's a pretty decent card. Dusty Hernandez Harrison also on this card, undefeated at 32-0-1, fighting Juan the Angel, 21-11-1. So that about does it for this week's stuff.
That I'll bring up, and I apologize, I didn't send you any of the photos from it. For one, is I forgot my camera. Everybody laughs at me because when I go to a lot of events, I actually bring my camera that has a great zoom on it. Well, my phone doesn't have that great of a zoom. I went to the Phillies game on Tuesday night. It was Italian Heritage Night, and the one young Philadelphia prospect, Sonny Canto, the heavyweight, 3-0, was just in Tyson Fury's camp sparring with him. Foreman was undercard in Vegas, was throwing out the open pitch, and so I went down to see him. Got pictures of him throwing the pitch out, and I was never able to meet up with him for a photo op. We had planned on it, but then it was like I bumped into some of his family, saw them. They actually came over to where I was standing, some of his friends did. I was like, I was going to walk over to them where he was. Coworkers are mine now making next thing I know, I'm getting pulled away with them for a minute. Mm-hmm. Or someone's talking to me, I'm doing a photo pump, and these guys, they were gone. And then by the time I found them, because Sonny had already left. That kind of sucked.
Just in case of being too famous.
What sucked even more, what sucked even more was the Phillies were up 6-1. They end up giving up a number of home runs. It's 6-5. I'm getting ornery. And then you can hear, like, where I stand, you can hear, like, the radio broadcasters. I have a speaker there. And they're like, boy, you see that lightning over Center City right now? It seems like it's coming this way. And I'm like, oh, Christ. And I'm like, well, we're in the 8th inning. Come on, we can get through this. They get to the 8th inning, next thing the skies open up. I'm like, shit. It rains, only 20 minutes, quick delay. Start the game up. Our closer blows the save, gives up a 3-run homer. So we're losing 8-6. I'm like, dude, I got to go to work tomorrow. I'm tired. It's going to take me an hour and a half to get home anyway. I'm leaving. I'm on the subway. My friend texted me, goes, wow, did you see that? I'm like, no. She goes, I'm sure the game. I'm like, I left. So then they came back to me.
I still love that.
Yeah.
Hey, bottom of the ninth.
Yeah.
What do you do? Speaking of bottom of the ninth, there was some good efforts last week we didn't get a chance to talk about. Crazy, unexpected wins. Diego De La Hoya lost on his own fight card there, the Golden Boy Company fight card, to Ronnie Rios last Saturday. Also, Gerald the Jedi Knight Washington pulled up a big upset against Robert Helenius.
Yeah. That was a hell of but not Godzilla.
Right. So pretty impressive. And he's up there in age too, isn't he, Gerald? He's like almost 40.
He did.
So good stuff. Always good to hear. So that's about it for major boxing stuff. I'll try to be quick about the MMA stuff. I think the tide is starting to turn against this UFC trend of these fighters talking trash. We talked about it with this one championship mentality that they're just going to respect the martial arts and treat each other with respect, even though they're rivals. And there really isn't much trash talk in that league, and it's just a different attitude. Now Robert Whitaker is mouthing off about the UFC, how it works. He doesn't understand why people think this is interesting. Doesn't understand why people think he's a super nice guy when in reality all he does is keep his mouth shut, train hard, and fight to win. I don't know why everyone calls me a nice guy, to be honest, Whitaker told Submission Radio. Like, I'm not nice just because I'm not a dickhead, you know what I mean? Everyone, especially in the MMA game, everyone wants to jump on each other. They want to shit on each other. They want to try to, instead of improving and building their own careers and improving the scene, improving the sport themselves, they'd rather shit on everybody around them. That stands in contrast to Israel Adesanya, who will attempt to unify the 185-pound titles when he collides with the Reaper. The main event October 5th in Australia. Whitaker here. So it's Whitaker versus Adesanya. He says, just because I don't talk trash and I'm not mouthy and I'm not mouthing off like I'm in the schoolyard doesn't mean I don't take this for what it is. I am doing everything in my power to break you because we're going to go fight in an octagon. I don't need to smack talk to get in that mind frame. I'm already there. Like, we're going to go fight to the death in so many months' time, and I'm going to give everything I have. I just don't smack talk, though. But don't misinterpret that for me not taking the fight seriously. I know it's hard to see the sport from the outside, but cage fights are most uneventful and need to be sold in the same way a 9-inning, 3-hour baseball game features roughly 18 minutes of ball and play action. What block of time during a 3-round MMA fight is spent pawing the jab, bobbing and weaving, struggling for position against the cage, or laying on the ground? Anyway, yeah, it's an interesting perspective. Just because I don't talk trash does not mean that I'm not going to destroy you. This is an interesting story related to the UFC, sort of. UTA Sports, United Talent Agency. It's a Hollywood talent firm. I believe it's under the company Endeavor that owns the UFC. They made a significant investment in a guy named Rich Paul, who is LeBron James's agent. They made a significant investment in this guy's sports agency, Clutch, which works for NBA stars including Anthony Davis and Golden State Warriors Draymond Green, Philadelphia 76ers, there you go, Ben Simmons, and Washington Wizards John Wall. Paul will be head of UTA Sports, where he will be charged with building UTA sports business for players on and off the field. So I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but WME bought sports powerhouse IMG for more than $2 billion in 2013. Endeavor, which is planning an initial public offering, also owns mixed martial arts league UFC. So yeah, this is just one more thing where LeBron James is just building a little empire here. But now he's connected in a big way to the UFC, and he's getting this big position with Clutch Sports. I don't know what that's all about, what they're going to do for boxing or MMA with that. But LeBron James and the UFC. Who knows what will happen? Maybe he'll get out of basketball and get into fighting. Anyway, speaking of guys getting into fighting from other sports, Greg Hardy just had a recent big win in the UFC.
Yeah, true.
Now he's talking a lot of smack, of course. Or no, he's got a fight coming up. Coming up soon. He's 4-1. Yeah, he's got UFC on ESPN coming up this weekend against Juan Adams, who's 5-1. So this is stiff competition for him for once. And he's coming off a first-round knockout of a guy named Dmitry Smolyakov. His only loss was by disqualification. He threw an illegal knee. That was back in January. But April 27th, he had his big win over Dmitry, knockout by punches. But this is going to be a stiffer test, and we're gonna see what happens. But he's actually already started talking about wanting to fight John Jones, which is interesting. We'll see if that ever happens. I highly doubt it. Anyway, we don't have anything else this week. I know we had some stuff last week. One second. Aspen Lad. That's a female fight. All right. So anyway, UFC on ESPN4. It's going to be a main event of Rafael dos Anjos versus Leon Edwards. Rafael's 29-11. Leon Edwards is 17-3. It's going to be from San Antonio, Texas, this Saturday. Also on the card, we have Walt Harris, 12-7, fighting Alexei Olenek, who is 57-12-1. Greg Hardy, 4-1 versus Juan Adams, 5-1. Like I said, James Vick also on the card. He's 13-3, fighting Dan Hooker, 17-8. Alexander Hernandez, 10-2, fighting Francisco Trinaldo, 23-6. Big Ben Rothwell, 36-11, fighting Andre Arlovsky, who's 27-18, and still going. Bruce Leroy Caceres, he is 14-12, fighting Steven Peterson, 17-8. We got a female fight, Raquel Pennington, 9-7, fighting Irene Aldana, 10-4, and our buddy Sam Alvey. We'll have to get him back on the show. I'm pretty sure I can get him on the phone. 33-12, fighting Clidson Abreu, 14-3. Then we got Jennifer Maya, 16-5-1, fighting Roxanne Modafferi, 23-15. Ray Borg, he is 11-4, fighting Gabriel Silva, undefeated, 8-0. Mario Bautista, looking for a Sherdog picture. He's got the silhouette right now. He's 6-1 in the second fight of the night. He's fighting Jin Soo Son. He's 9-3, so maybe if he wins, he'll get a picture. First fight of the night. Felipe Diaz Caleres is 8-1, fighting Domingo Pilarte, who is also 8-1. That's a female fight over the weekend. UFC. Jermaine Durandami, it was UFC Fight Night 155, and Aspen Ladd in the main event. Took just 16 seconds into the fight for Jermaine to take care of business. Say 8-1. Jermaine, mostly punches there, but there was a big kick leading into it, and just basically hit her right in the gut. And it was the only fight I caught on this card. But Uriah Faber also got huge win, 46 seconds TKO over Ricky Simon. He's back on the map and in contention.
That was his first fight in how long?
Over 2 years, I think.
Okay.
So, long enough for him to be rusty. But he is a trainer too, so he's always rolling around and doing stuff. But he had officially retired. He hadn't had a good run for a little while, but maybe he just needed his body to give his body time to rest, like a lot of them say. And here's our cue to call Tom. He's ready. He's ready for his $100 reading. All right, hang on, folks.
Yes, sir, bud.
There he is.
Hey,
Second.
there. All right.
All right, how do I pay my $100? No,
Okay.
I want my reading.
No, this is got me off track here. You know, I know it wasn't your fault, but I have structure.
Yeah.
There it is. All of a sudden, I'm all mentally confused in my old age, but we're here.
Well,
Forget
you're
you.
lucky.
Let's get after it.
You're lucky we got just a little bit of MMA to talk about. We've already gone over the upcoming UFC fight, so we're just going over last week's fight card, which I only saw the main event of. So conveniently, we were just talking about Uriah Faber versus Ricky Simon, 46-second TKO for Uriah. So he's back, and I was wondering what your thoughts on that were on that, if you saw it and all that.
No, I didn't, and all I can say for him is, I guess the gatekeeper's still there.
Yeah. Also, Josh Emmett got a TKO first round punches, 4 minutes and 25 seconds over a tough guy, Mirsad Bektik. And Carl Roberson over Wellington Thurman by a split decision. Then we had a couple unanimous decisions. Martin Vittori over Cesar Ferreira. John Allen Arte over Mike Rodriguez. In the first fight of the night, Andre Fili knocking out Shaman Moraes 3 minutes and 7 seconds in. The main event there, Jermaine D. Randami. I tuned in for that one, and boy, that was a quick one. 16 seconds. Went down fast. Whoop. Poor connection is telling me. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
We're
back.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, I guess we kind of are at the end of the rope here. But what do you do now that we got you on here? What do you think about Thurman versus Pacquiao before we get off there?
I cannot get Pac-Man's frustration of the past couple of years out of my head. I got to go with Thurman.
Thurman.
Okay.
I know I've been watching this stuff for hours now, and yesterday, my entire afternoon was wasted watching all BBC fight camps again for the second time. He looks great. He's in great shape. I like his mental approach, but we've been down this road. And I know he was hurt in the Mayweather fight, and I know that the foreign decision, and on and on and on. There are all these reasons, but I don't think Thurman will stop him. But I think early on it's going to be interesting. I think he would really like to try, but I just think he's going to be just a little too much. And if I'm wrong, we'll say my heart is with Manny. That's for sure.
And Tom, before we had you on the air, one of the breakdowns I gave was, unfortunately, because I didn't have enough time with work to write up the report. But when the fight was first announced, my mind went Thurman because of his youth, because of his size, because of his power, because of his better chin. I'm like, I don't know if there's going to be a stoppage, but I can see him using his superior size and athleticism to negate Pacquiao. And there were times Pacquiao fought bigger guys like Margaritas or Cottos, but those were generally slow-footed fighters where he was able to really just dart in and out, land punches, not get hit in return. Where Thurman is an athletic guy and he moves well. Then the money was starting to really go towards Pacquiao with a lot of the betting people. The odds started going in his favor. And then as I'm thinking, I'm like, what? Boy, in his last fight, he was fighting Jose Lopez, the guy that, he should have blown out. He was dominating the early rounds. Next thing you know, he was getting hit by some big right hands. And Lopez is definitely not as fast, not as crafty, not as unorthodox as Pacquiao is, especially with that laser left. And I'm like, boy, I could see Pacquiao really finding a home for that left hand. And I'm like, so it's going to come down to one of two things. I couldn't make up my mind. I said, it's either going to come down, it depends on who can establish from the beginning and who can make the necessary adjustments. Those are the two things. So is it going to be Pacquiao's speed and experience versus Thurman's youth and athleticism? Those are the two things. And I'm like, it could go either Thurman maybe, wearing him down and winning a 12-round decision, or Pacquiao just getting in, getting out, landing them shots, and just outworking them over 12 rounds. That's what I see. As I said to Rich, I said, I actually read a really good report the other day from our good friend, man John Scully, and he said along the same lines. And he ended up thinking it's going to go to Thurman's youth, just pulling away at the end. And I can appreciate that.
Well, Thurman, and I've been watching replays, watching the Garcia fight, watching the Porter fight again, and Thurman just seems to slightly have an edge in those things. So maybe I'm wrong with it, but the only thing I can see is I just wondered if Thurman is going to push a little too hard, because he does seem to have a chip on his shoulder. Because I noticed even during the stare down, it's like he's really trying to psych himself up for an attitude. And he's been taking questions. Well, how do you feel about being the B-side fighter? Stuff that really doesn't mean diddly. Unless you make it into something. But that's the only concern that I would have if I were, if I were part of the brain trust. I'd say just ignore all that stuff. And I think he will. But there is that possibility that he really has a point to prove, and he's going to gun things a little too fast. And Pac-Man has more than enough experience to capitalize on that. But I think if he fights smart, I think if he fights smart and uses that movement, in that Garcia fight, movement was so important.
Very true.
Yeah, because toward the end, I know the first time I seen it, I was really watching it this time, and Danny came on at the end, and it was close. But I think it was a close decision, but I think they got the right guy. I think that
definitely.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just it's going to be interesting. What do you think about
another interesting one? I like Caleb Plant, and but Mike Lee's also a good fighter. I'd really just have to sit down and really just watch this one. I don't want
Well, the reason I'm asking is Plant is in the stop punishing minus 1,600. Minus 1,600. Lee is plus 800. So cut it in half, and we've got 12 to 1 off. Now, I would go with Plant based on his boxing skills, based on, I think he's just fighting at a peak right now. There, but 12 to 1? Huh. It's going to be interesting. I just don't think it'll be that one-sided. I would still have to think Plant's going to pull it off, but a little bit of bad blood there, too, coming up. So,
yeah.
I think that the odds are just very steep in that one if I was going to roll the dice. Well, we'll see what we can do. So it's going to be an interesting night tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, Mayhem Miller's in trouble again. He's going to jail for a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sentenced to a year in jail.
In fact, that came to me in my growth hormone news. I get updates on that, and apparently he had unprescribed.
Yeah.
HGH. Oh,
Yeah.
what a mess! What a mess!
Yeah.
And Rich, did you see the picture of him that went to those sites had?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had that kind of grin that
Yeah.
when he was doing bully beatdown,
Yeah.
and he
Craziness.
was interviewing the bully, and he kind of get that maniacal grin there.
The
Well,
last
it's
straw,
good to have that on it.
the straw that broke the camel's back was when he smashed a marble table at his girlfriend's residence. Violated protective order to stay away from her. And 38 years old now, pleaded guilty to one count of felony count of vandalism and a misdemeanor count of violating the stay away order. He's been in custody since his arrest October 19th for smashing the table and punching holes in and removing doors from the home and derailing the garage door, according to prosecutors. He pleaded guilty to beating the same girlfriend on September 27th of 2017. Was sentenced in
There's an old cliche: when it's over, it's over, and you can stay at the party a little too long. Okay?
Yes.
And when the bartender's telling you you've had enough, it's probably time to leave, and he just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Feel bad for him. I mean, that's a horrible situation to be in. And the worst part of it, I don't think she's going to be waiting on him to get out of jail.
I don't know. She's
Well, you never know. I mean,
might be a weird character. Who knows?
You know,
But it's crazy.
I've had a few situations that never quite got to that extent, but I know now. I know better. When it's done, and let it go.
Right. Well,
So
the other big news.
The hard way.
The other big news in boxing that Tony and I haven't even discussed yet is what we predicted the last show we were on here, pretty much. That Canelo Alvarez was going to have a tough time finding an opponent for his September fight. And what happened? He canceled it. He's officially canceled it, so you heard it here first.
Yeah, I just don't think he wants that trilogy fight with Triple G. He probably feels there's nothing to gain. And probably feels it's still a bit of a risk. And then he wanted Kovalev, but I guess Kovalev fighting this Yarde guy, and so that's been signed. So that's not going to happen. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, DAZN's going to want to cash in on their $305 million paycheck they wrote in,
Right. Well, I guess we lost Tony for some reason. I can't get him back on, but I was hoping to get his opinion on that too. But I guess that's a good note to end on. Unless you got anything else you wanted to add that no, you didn't hear everything else we talked about, but anything else that comes to your mind that we need to speak about before we go?
Well, it just seems like boxing's the hot thing right now, and that's where a lot of my attention's been. But that can change. We'll have some action coming up in August, and I have some things. But we'll talk about that next week.
All right.
With the Steve Eddie Cormier rematch, we have a lot to say about that. But we'll get on to next week, bud. That'll be the plan.
All right. We'll see if your crystal ball is crystal clear or it needs to be polished.
Yeah, we'll see what's what. So that's what I'm saying. I think that Lee may make it interesting. I still go with Plant. I mean, I don't like 12-1. And I think Thurman's just got a slight edge. But, hey, we'll see what's what. Tune in next week, and let's see if the psychic was right.
Oh, yeah. All right,
bud.
Thanks for stopping by and listening.
Enjoy the fights this weekend, huh?
Thanks for stopping by.
All right, bud.
Adios. And that's it, folks. Till next week. We'll check you later.